The silence in our home had grown louder than any argument ever could. It was a heavy, suffocating silence, thick with unspoken words, and the ghost of a love that was now just a memory. I knew, deep down, something was wrong. It wasn't one single thing, but a collection of small, almost imperceptible shifts. The late nights she claimed were for work, the way her phone was always angled away from me, the sudden distance that felt like a chasm between us. For a long time I chose to believe her. I wanted to. I clung to the excuses she offered, each one a flimsy patch on a rapidly tearing fabric. "The project is just so demanding," she'd say, her eyes not quite meeting mine. "We're under a huge deadline." I would nod, force a smile, and tell myself that all couples go through rough patches, that this was just a phase. I'd make her favorite dinner, hoping the familiar taste might bring back the woman I fell in love with. But she'd eat quickly, her mind clearly elsewhere, her laughter sounding hollow and practiced. Doubt is a patient predator. It starts as a whisper in the back of your mind, then grows into a persistent voice you can't ignore. I started noticing things I couldn't explain away. A restaurant receipt for two from a place we'd never been, dated on a night she was supposedly working late. The scent of a cologne that wasn't mine clinging to her scarf. Each discovery was a small, sharp cut to my heart. I was living in a state of quiet desperation, torn between the terrifying truth and the beautiful lie I wanted to live in. The turning point came on a Tuesday. I had come home early, planning to surprise her. The house was empty, but her tablet was on the coffee table left open. And there it was, a string of messages, not just flirtatious, but filled with shared moments, inside jokes, and plans for a future that didn't include me. The words blurred through my tears. "I can't wait to get away from him," one message read. "Just a little longer." The floor seemed to fall away from beneath me. The person I had built my entire world around was actively dismantling it, piece by piece, behind my back. When she came home that evening, she was humming, a cheerful tune that sounded like a funeral dirge to my ears. She kissed my cheek, a casual, meaningless gesture that made my skin crawl. I didn't confront her right away. I needed to see how far she would take the deception. I needed to hear the lies one last time, to burn the sound of her insincerity into my memory so I would never forget, so I would never be this naive again. I asked her, my voice surprisingly steady, "How was your day, honey?" She launched into an elaborate story about a stressful meeting and a demanding client. She painted a picture of a grueling day, filled with details so specific, so convincing, that a week ago I would have believed every word. I watched her, this stranger wearing my wife's face, and felt a profound, chilling calm wash over me. The anger and the hurt were still there, but they were now beneath a layer of ice. She was a performer, and I had been her most dedicated audience. I let her finish her monologue. I let her spin her web of deceit around me one final time. I didn't interrupt. I didn't accuse. I just listened. I listened to the casual way she dismissed my concerns. I listened to the practiced reassurances. I listened as she unknowingly narrated the end of our marriage. It was like watching the final scene of a tragic play where I was the only one who knew the ending. Each lie she told wasn't a dagger anymore. It was a stepping stone, paving my path out the door. When she was done, a silence fell between us. This one was different. It wasn't heavy with unspoken feelings. It was empty, utterly and completely empty. She looked at me, expecting a sympathetic nod, maybe an offer of a back rub. Instead, I just looked at her, and for the first time I saw her clearly. Not the woman I loved, but the person she had become. The illusion was shattered, and all that remained was a painful, undeniable reality. I stood up slowly. Her smile faltered, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. "Where are you going?" she asked, a hint of unease in her voice. I didn't answer. I walked to our bedroom, the room where we had shared so many dreams, and packed a single bag. I didn't take much. just the essentials. The memories, the photos, the life we built. I was leaving all of that behind with her. They were part of the lie, and I didn't want them anymore. As I walked towards the front door, she stood in the hallway, her face a mask of shock and dawning realization. "What are you doing? Talk to me," she pleaded. The desperation in her voice was real now, but it was too late. All the words had been said, most of them lies. I paused at the door, my hand on the knob. I looked back at her one last time, not with anger, but with a strange sense of pity. "I listened," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "I heard everything." And with that, I turned the knob, walked out the door, and didn't look back. I walked away from the house, from the lies, from the woman I thought I knew. I walked away forever, into the quiet of the night, not knowing where I was going, but knowing I was finally heading in the right direction. The pain was immense, but for the first time in a long time I could breathe again. It was the first breath of the rest of my life. This journey of healing is a long one, and sharing it is part of that process. If you've ever felt this kind of betrayal, know that you are not alone, and walking away is not a sign of weakness, but an act of incredible strength. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories about finding strength in life's toughest moments. Your support means the world.